welcome to the Busted Knees and Pretty Trees podcast. Thank you all for lending your ears to us for another episode. If we're not able to take our inflamed legs for a go on the trail, we like to strap a pack on our big brains and go exploring. I am Trail Brain Travis White, and thank you all for joining us with your brains for another great episode. Today, we're back in a big way because we brought an extra trail mind with us. Some might say bird brain. Brad probably said that. He's our first returning guest. He's a fan favorite amongst the greater Busted Knees social circles. A very big deal for me and the guys as well. Any guesses who it might be?
I know.
Insert bird tweeting. While you stare blankly into the distance and ponder on our mystery guest, we don't have to guess who my co-trail brains are. Bradley Greer and Paddy Richardson. Big old trail brains.
Yo.
Big old trail brain.
Yeah, that was it. We were talking about this earlier, Travy J. You really nailed those. That was exciting AF.
Do you guys know who our mystery guest is?
I think I know who he is.
Well, before you come to any conclusions, let me give you some clues. He was the spark that ignited the fuse leading to a mountain of TNT that was Brad's natural urge to swan dive into the darkest depths of a new hobby. And our guest truly expanded everyone's skills at interpreting nature's language, all through the oddly addictive activity of birding. Shit got real. I certainly have expanded my sense of what's around me. Brad picked up photography in a stunning way, and Patrick, well, he's still kind of the same.
Yeah.
Well, he had previous backyard birder Instagram account experience.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
And he just has an abundance of enthusiasm for everything.
Yeah, it's fun that way.
He's always revved at high gears.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, I want to welcome our guest for the second time, back in from spring migration, the totally rad Chad Fitzpatrick.
Yo! Way to go.
Thank you.
For
I
coming
appreciate
back, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
Oh, man. What an intro, huh?
That was a huge intro.
I feel like we have royalty in the house tonight.
Well, thank you,
Like,
sir.
that was awesome, dude. Second time on the pod, and I'm enjoying that.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, first
Dude.
returning guest.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
This is so nice. This is so
just
fucking nice.
I really do feel very privileged right now. Thank you so much for having me back.
Dude,
So much has happened
nice.
since the first time you were on. I
Yeah.
mean, you have molded this podcast in a certain
Yeah,
way.
you have. In a certain way, you have.
Hundreds of bird sightings since then.
Hundreds.
I have written you guys and said, I am really enjoying your new birding podcast.
I'm on a text thread with these two knuckleheads, and it's called Birdman. And I will go to sleep, or I'll be at home just gaming or doing whatever, and I'll come into like 40 texts all about a bird photo that Brad took or a sound that Chad heard in his backyard. Like just insane amounts of birding since February.
I do kind of feel a little left out of
Yeah.
that birding chat.
I'll get you in it, but be
prepared.
careful. Be careful what you ask for, homie, man.
Is it
I was doing it for
regular
you.
messaging?
It is very regular messaging.
It's on that whatever that
Signal.
thing. Signal.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so it won't buzz my phone.
By regular, do you mean like often?
Yeah.
Not
Because
e-
it is very often.
It is often.
Like maybe not every day, but every couple of days.
Yeah, but 40 times in that day to
Yeah.
make up for the other days. All right. I'll get you in it, bro. I'll get you in it.
I know I haven't been as much of a birder as you guys, but I have been very much looking into the trees.
How could you not, dude? It's just been such a fun thing. Chad, you did get us. You'd really sparked some interest in this thing, dude.
Sure.
It makes me so happy.
The amount of miles I've pulled off in the off season because I'm birding is probably up by 100 or so.
Oh, yeah.
Like guaranteed.
Brad has spent tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
No, he hasn't.
Yo, dude.
No, he
An
hasn't.
extravagant amount of money Brad has spent he's bought 3 camera bags in like the last 2 months. Just insane.
I've been lucky to experience it, I think, once or twice, seeing Brad's setup for the cameras. And it's like, you go out there and it's like, That's what it sounds like when you're birding.
I feel like you're on the red carpet.
Well, actually,
Dude,
speaking
it's
of,
insane.
I don't know if you ended up seeing an American Red Start this year or not. I know at one point you said you hadn't seen one yet.
I haven't.
So I printed one of the pictures of an American Red Start.
Oh my gosh, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
You took this photo?
Yeah.
Let us see.
Guys.
So what's cool about it,
Holy jabroni.
like with that photo,
gorgeous.
you can rotate it in any direction and it looks like that's the way the bird's actually on the branch.
That's what's cool about it. You have no idea really which way is up.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
So if you've ever gone and looked for warblers or anything in the springtime at all, you know that these birds are just impossible to even sight, let alone getting a still image of them.
Yeah.
And this is the crispiest, most beautiful photo.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
I'll cherish this. Thank
yeah,
you so
thank
much.
You, yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you didn't hear, I gave him a print of American Red Start.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool. Way to go, Chadwick.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my
dude.
gosh, I love it.
Neat.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good
Thanks
stuff.
for coming on again.
Oh,
Nope.
and there's the News Panther.
It's that time again.
Dude, I have been psyched about this for the better part of this week because I was thinking just into our episodes and all of that, and it's just always so. I have learned so farting much
So
from
have
these
I.
News Panthers. So I'm excited
I've
for
learned
this
enough,
round again.
I've learned enough that has allowed me to beat both of you guys in the last 2 trivia episodes.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
which means
Yeah.
we need to pay attention more.
I need to maybe forget less.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good way to say it. I respect that. Yeah, I feel like we said the same thing, but okay.
All right, so this first story, it's a really weird one. Like, it kind of is baffling. It's about a little bit of a Fast and Furious action that went down in Grand Teton National Park last week, except they didn't get away from the cops in real life.
Oh,
So 4 drivers and their luxury cars were impounded for racing down Teton Park Road, which if you've ever been there, this is the road that goes by Jenny Lake. Like the Jenny
Oh.
Lake Ranger Station. That's like probably the biggest ranger
Like the
station.
airport, like
Kind of, yeah.
you're
Yeah.
basically driving down the profile of the
Yeah.
mountain range.
Yeah. So these cars were racing down that road. And it was on June 24th around 5 p.m. The cops started getting calls from people talking about unsafe driving. So they started pulling people over, conducting traffic stops. And then there was 4 people total that were arrested and their cars were impounded.
dang.
Yeah.
What kind of cars are we talking?
Yeah, I want to kind of know that.
Well, it's an active investigation. So they didn't release the names, like the types of cars or the people that were
Come
arrested.
on.
You don't
Yeah,
get to know.
I don't know how it's still active.
Definitely a WRX though. There's got to be
No.
a Subaru.
Oh no.
How do you know?
So the group that these people belong to, it's called New Rally, spelled N-U, like new metal, corn, you know?
Yep. Yeah.
Cool, yeah. Like they have a website and like they're an official like rally club. The site says they put on at least 5 rallies a year, and they design events for supercar and hypercar owners who demand more than just a road trip. So it's all like
Vets and
there's some
Ferrari and
yeah.
shit?
There's like I saw some like it seemed like a lot. They have videos and stuff on their Instagram.
Yeah?
It seemed like a lot of Porsches, Lambos, Ferraris, real like luxury cars.
Was this road paved?
Yeah.
Because I'm picturing like off road. That's why I said WRX.
No. Yeah. Well, and
Oh.
when they say rally, it's like this trip that they were on started in Belleville,
Yeah, I
Washington,
got
and
you.
ended in Utah.
Holy crap.
So it's like a 7-day rally across
That
the
road's
West.
smooth, right? That's
Yeah.
like a
Oh,
highway.
yeah.
I could see the temptation.
I
Here-
think that's a driver's dream.
if you're going down
right
that car
there.
in a Ferrari, you're not gonna.
I
The road.
definitely
Yeah.
want to give it
I'll
some.
tell you, I was driving that road one time, and I remember my kids were very much asleep driving from Yellowstone over to Idaho, and we had a moose run out in front of us, and we were going like 70, 75,
Yeah.
the speed limit, let's just assume. And and this female moose just like ran right out in front of us and just continued riding or like running straight up the mountain. I could not imagine having like a supercar going 120
Yeah.
miles an hour
Holy
and
smokes.
having
Yeah, and there's so many like bison, moose, bear. Like there's so much stuff. Yeah.
No,
You never know.
And like people stopped because there is a bear
Yeah.
or something and they're looking at it.
Dang, that sounds the rally part of that.
Yeah.
I know this is not what the story's about, but the rally part of that sounds awesome.
It does sound
We're
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
start in Washington and drive all the way to the Tetons as fast AF.
And
like
so
Smokey and the Bandit.
Let's go.
kinda like
A rally.
little
Oh, yeah.
cannonball run.
it even
Cannonball run.
Yeah.
Nice.
It actually gets even better than that. So it's like you want to go on this. They have trips planned all over the country. They do tend to be around or in national parks or state parks, but you pay your fee. And what's included in that is a planned route from one event to another, sumptuous accommodations, meals from a chef, and then you get like branded merchandise. And then there's professional photography teams that take photos and videos the whole way of you driving your cool car. I thought, man, maybe I should go work for them, take some
It'd
photos.
be cool if they paid your bond.
Yeah, maybe they do.
You know what I mean?
Well, they do. So the website does say, like in their terms and conditions, that all participants must comply with all applicable laws and regulations, especially all speed regulations, laws of the road, and laws relating to the safety of your vehicle. So they claim, like, I don't know if it's a known thing that they do like race all the time, or if this new rally, whoever runs it, is like pretty serious. Like, don't mess this up. Like, don't race, don't be dumb.
Yeah.
But something tells me they probably, the goal is to like race and go fast.
Where there's road, there's racing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you ain't rubbing.
Technically, a Ford Fiesta could run just as fast as a Ferrari at 55 miles an hour for that distance.
So why have a Ferrari?
So it is invite only, the club. So you can't just join the club. You have to be invited to join it. And they can cost up to $14,000 for one of the 7-day experiences.
Dang.
This one was not specifically scheduled, or at least I think New Rally said that part of their route wasn't supposed to be in Grand Teton. So I don't know if it's just like they got there and they were just out cruising, and that's one of the coolest roads in the park. So,
Damn. Well,
yeah.
that is seriously unsafe.
Yeah.
As cool as my one side of my brain wants to think that's not that awesome. Like, I'd be pissed.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Like, take your Ferrari and shove it.
Yeah.
But I get it. When I was younger, we all tested the limits of our vehicles.
Dude, at $14,000, I would highly doubt that these are like younger individuals.
No, it actually,
I wasn't paying
it
to
looked
go
like a
fast.
bunch of like younger rich kids.
Oh,
and the
even
videos.
douchier.
Like that, some of
Like,
their cars.
that's exactly what I want to get away from when I go to a national park.
Yeah.
Is just douchey people.
Like their cars had the circle dot with the racing number on it and stuff. They had like all those kinds of decals on their cars. So,
Every time you explain it more, I want to go back to that's cool, but I'm also I just fuck them.
I think it's silly. Like go rent out Watkins Glen or Sonoma Raceway and race on a track.
That's right. Don't put people or animals or the environment in any danger. It
Old
doesn't
man
need it.
Travis would not be happy.
Yeah.
Do you know what's left when they are not out there racing? Just like the perfect sound of birds. Just
Yeah.
Exactly.
nature as it was intended.
Yeah. Exactly what you
Uninterrupted.
go there for.
Yeah.
Ugh. Gross.
So the next story is about a photographer from Northern California who captured footage of an extremely rare fox in Lassen Volcanic National Park.
All right.
He actually captured it last winter. I'll get into how he set that up, but there's only around 18 to 39 of these foxes left. Like, so they're extremely endangered, like critically endangered.
What is it?
The Sierra Nevada red fox.
Sierra Nevada red fox.
Yeah.
How big is this fox?
It's a little bit, it's like slightly smaller than your typical red fox.
Well, how big is that fox?
You've never seen a red fox?
I've seen them.
Let's see, like
I didn't weigh them.
like 20 pounds.
Yeah, like
15
I'm
pounds?
trying to think of a dog that would compare, like Lola's size.
Yeah, like Lola's
Patty's
size.
dog.
How is it smaller?
I think because of the altitudes it's at, that's why it's a little smaller. And like there's differences, and I guess animals that have to cross snow a lot have fur on their paws, keep their paws warmer. So it has that.
I think it kind of acts as like little snowshoes too.
Yeah. And they do live slightly longer than a regular red fox. They live to be about 5 to 6 years old. The only places they live or have been found in is the Oregon Cascades, and Sonora, and then the Lassen area.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I've never heard of them, but it sounded like part of the reason they're in trouble is from trapping. Like back in the beginning of the 20th century, there was people, I think, like with the trappers.
Yeah.
Because it was like new country back then,
Right.
California, and they were averaging one fox every 2 days.
Wiping them out.
Yeah. And the main reason they were targeting these foxes is because their fur is apparently softer than like the gray fox, which is,
Okay.
I guess, everywhere in California.
Huh.
Yeah. And then it also seems like the females just don't breed that often. Like when they do follow them, or like they try to keep them, like leave them alone, but it sounds like the females just don't breed. Like they don't see them having litters that often.
So in
it
terms,
'cause-
go ahead.
Is it because they just don't have a variety of mates to choose from, or
Oh.
It
is it
didn't.
just like their breeding cycles?
It didn't really say. Like it almost just kind of said it didn't seem like they were interested in breeding. Like that wasn't their priority, which is kind of strange.
That's not good.
But it could be because like their diet. This could be part of the reason their diet's predominantly mammals, like rodents. And it said mule deer, which is kind of crazy that they can take down maybe like a baby mule deer.
Yeah.
Maybe just scavenge.
Yeah, like insects, wild berries, birds. And then, so there's the coyote population is wiping those animals out. So food sources are becoming harder to get by. So that could also be part of the reason, because animals typically only breed when they're thriving and healthy because they need that extra energy.
Right. So in terms of conservation, though, I'm just wondering, like, because they're so little, have they been on it for, like you said, that they study them? So have they been on it for some time now?
I think they're currently trying to get more funding to have like larger studies.
Good luck.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But droughts and wildfires also are like ravishing their like ecosystems.
Yeah.
So it's just all of that's kind of messing it up.
Man, they are getting hit hard. The
Yeah.
Sierra Nevada red fox.
Yep. So Randy Robbins is the photographer who got this photo. He'd been trying for 3 years to get a photo of one. And so he was setting up trail cams, and he set this trail cam up in October of 2024, but he only discovered the footage of the red fox, or of the Sierra red fox. He only discovered it like last week. I'm assuming just because he had hundreds of hours of footage to go through.
There it is.
Yeah, so I'm showing them a picture of. So there's 3 phases that they can come in. One of them I didn't understand what it was. There's red, which is on the left. There's cross phased or silver phased. So I don't know what cross phased is. Maybe it's a mixture of silver and red.
It definitely looks bushier
Yeah,
from this angle.
Thicker for sure.
yeah.
Thick.
Yeah.
Then the photo on the right is the one that Robbins got. It's actually like a 3-minute video. So that's what he said. He was ecstatic because usually you just get a glimpse of one across the trail cam. But he said this one was just like for 3 minutes, kind of laying in the sun, being a fox, just like jumping around on the rocks and stuff. And we'll post the video.
Yeah,
You can
definitely.
see.
That one looks like it has a collar on. doesn't it?
I thought the same thing too. Like it looks collared.
I would think because of its coloring, like I'd be like, is that just a dog? that
Yeah,
got
or
lost
a
and it has
coyote.
collar on?
Or almost like a coyote. But that tail is pretty big and bushy.
Those are gorgeous.
Yeah.
Dang, what's his name?
It is Randy Robbins.
Randy Robbins. Way to go.
Yeah, if you go to his Instagram account, that's where I saw the video. Because I think even this article linked to his Instagram account, and that's the only way you could see the video.
Way to go,
So,
Randy
yeah,
Robbins.
Yeah, pretty
What
cool.
a great thing.
Brad, are you? You know what
Damn.
we haven't done for a while? Giving out a
Oh, hell yeah, award.
Is this constitute hell yeah
I
award?
mean, as a fellow wildlife photographer, he spent 3 years to get this one video.
That is pretty
of a rare
insane.
extinct fox.
But you haven't given hell yeah awards to like people that found out that sharks talked.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty substantial because nobody's heard that. And you were like, nah, We'll give it like an okay award.
Raise the bar too high for.
I thought we
the
did.
hell yeah
I think
award.
we've given out 3 of them.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and look and see what they were.
Yeah.
Because I thought one of them might have been. Oh no, it was the
No.
group that discovered the colossal squid,
Yes.
and they discovered the other one too.
Yep. Yep.
That we can't remember the
I
name.
would
of.
love to witness one if I could.
Nothing.
That would be amazing.
Brad just says they get the hell yeah award, and then we clap.
It's a very distinguished honor.
Yes, it is a distinguished honor. Oh, dude.
Yep, that was it for today.
Nice. That was great.
Yeah.
Dude, short little bangers, but I dug it.
Yeah, we got a lot to get into today. I had to keep them short.
I'm pretty psyched about that Sierra Nevada red fox.
Because it's even like him just getting the video is bringing more attention to it.
Yeah.
And like we're talking about it.
And think about the 3 years, because he got a photo of one of the 18 to 39
Yeah.
Sierra Nevada red fox that even exist.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty.
Yeah.
And they
pretty
are
tough.
and they are nocturnal too. So that makes it even harder to get. Like they only hunt at night.
Really?
So yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That story kind of got me down.
It's a bummer and a
Do
celebration.
you remember the Grizzly Man Fox family that followed him around?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cute little sons.
I think they were red foxes.
Yeah.
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 Dudes, like Brad said, we have a hell of a lot to get to today.
Yeah, we got Chad here, and it's been how long, you think? How many episodes have we done since? Or how?
15 or so.
Yeah, I'd
Okay,
say.
the birding explosion is in full gear right now
Yeah.
among the podcast members. And now that we have a little bit more knowledge on the subject,
Yeah.
we can get a little bit deeper into the birding.
All right.
What do you say, Chad?
I'm into it.
All
Okay.
right, let's do it. We brought Chad in because when he first came on the show, he just had such a huge influence on the show itself
Yeah.
and our freaking daily lives.
Yeah,
I'm
big
looking
time.
up to the trees more often.
And I think a lot of
You've been
listeners.
out.
Yeah.
Brad has just taken off with it like a rocket ship.
Yeah. Brad, what's
So,
your count at right now? I'm curious. What's your life list at?
I'm at 145.
145. I'm at 112.
Holy
What do you
Crap.
at, Chad?
Yeah.
I've gained 2 since I came on there. Which, which, I mean, I will say,
got a
like,
full list,
I
so.
haven't spent as much time birding since then as you guys have, but and also they are harder to come by.
Oh, you
the
haven't
more
been
you
going
get.
out every single day?
Yeah. Well, I imagine that like once you hit a certain mark, you're like, okay, well, this sure did slow down unless you start travel burden.
It does, and I did get both mine from traveling this spring.
Yeah.
Yep. I went to the Great Smoky National Park, and I picked up 2 birds on that trip.
Nice.
What were they?
The winter wren
Oh,
and the Louisiana water thrush.
Get it, son.
nice.
Yep.
266, you say?
Was 266, now a proud 268.
A proud 268, man.
hell yeah.
Are you going to make a final push at some point for the 300 mark?
Oh, man. That's going to be.
Is that an exclusive
Yeah,
club?
what I would love to do for that would be to like go to Costa Rica and just knock them all out in like one trip.
Yeah. Good.
Just pick up like
Lord.
20 hummingbirds in one single trip.
Pick a place that has like the
Yeah.
biggest abundance
Yeah.
of species.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean these have all of them I've pretty much just come across. Like
Yeah.
these haven't been ones I've gone to like seek out and like find necessarily, but but yeah, I would love to do a big push.
Dude, next year when I know you don't want to hear us talking about all of the festival that we went to, Brad and I went to, and Bazzy, but it was awesome. It was like what you're talking about. I think I left there with like 40 something birds on my life list.
Added to your life list.
Added
right?
to my
Yeah.
life list, yeah.
Yeah, to say I'm jealous is an understatement.
Yeah,
I
but
could
next year, I hope that you use this for a little bit of like, we're going. Because I think next year we have about maybe a little under a week planned between the 2 mass migration points in the dunes and in Maumee.
So that trip that you and Brad took, that was during the spring migration.
Oh, yeah. And we've
Yeah.
talked about it
Right.
before. It was hot spring migration.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
Did you do anything for the spring migration?
This year, I really did not. I could not allow it, and I was so bummed because I had to travel for work. I've got some remodeling things I'm doing, so I had no time to go birding.
Yeah, we invited you on the pod so we could tell you all about our experience.
Tell me about all these beautiful birds you
This
saw.
will be about a 20-minute recording, and we're out of here.
We're seeing everything you've already seen.
Yeah, no, this year I missed out. I missed out on a lot of birds, but I will make up for it next year.
Damn right you will.
Yeah.
I will say it's very exciting. I think it's been 1 or 2 birds that I've gotten that aren't on your list,
Yeah.
which is very exciting.
That is
for me.
exciting.
I've
remember
lived
Brad telling me about that. He was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I can't wait to tell Chad." That
I've lived vicariously through you guys through this migration, but next year will be all on. Actually, we'll just do a reset.
Yeah.
As of 2026 will just be a hard year of birding.
Yeah.
I love that.
I'm down.
Yeah, because we were talking about it at some point. There's certainly like it would be fun to start off as a varsity player. You know, not have the freshman sophomore year. Just start off senior build. Let's go. And that's where I think that I would be at that point. Like I know what I'm looking for. I feel the vibe of being out there.
Boom.
Like I'm ready to have
Sparrow. Nailed it.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm not going to waste time looking this bird up.
No, not even gonna do it. Just check her off.
Next.
Was there a point after the first podcast where you were just like, "These guys are just texting me a lot.
No, I love it.
This is for real. They're for real. They're really getting into it."
I love it. It was reminiscent of when I first got into birding and I had some people in my life that I could send pictures of the back of my camera to. And like, you know, I have 2 very specific friends, Casey and Jabin, that I would send these to, and they would laugh at me and be like, "Oh, great, another back of the camera picture." It's like, yeah, that is a Vesper sparrow or whatever the thing that is that I'm sending it to them. But no, it's very reminiscent of that, and I'm glad to be able to answer those texts just as quick as my friends answered those texts from me.
You have been
So it's
exceptionally patient with it.
I love it.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to give you a print, because it's like for being the mentor of birding for us.
Yeah, that's for real.
Yeah, I'm going to hang this up in my office. I cannot wait.
Hell yeah.
You were
Wowzers.
step 1 to that print being created.
Yeah.
I'm curious because you guys definitely seemed inspired from the last conversation. What is something that stood out that was like, oh, I want to go look into that more? Like,
Well, in terms of the actual birding?
just in the conversation, like what stood out to say like, hey, I'm going to go look into this more than I was in the past?
For me, and I've talked about this a lot, it's really easy. It's just the sheer numbers and like the amount of different species of birds. Like I know I've talked about this before, but you just kind of go into it, and I think if you're not looking, you could just easily be like, duck, done, got it,
Yeah.
mark it. But then when you like look at it behind a camera or with a pair of bins, it's a completely different looking species. And then you look over to the left, guess what? Another species.
Yeah.
And then going to the festival was that was remarkable. Like I thought you had to be so quiet and everybody was minding their P's and Q's.
On the drive, we were like, what's the etiquette?
Yeah, what is the
and
etiquette?
I was like, should I turn my mechanical shutter off and shoot electronic so it doesn't make a
And
sound?
it was the exact opposite. Like if one person saw a bird, there'd be 20 people standing there, and everybody would be helping each other out, looking for it and where it's at. It seems now. I know this probably doesn't answer your question entirely. I assume you're probably looking for more like bird oriented.
Yeah.
But for me, it was just the sheer amount of species, and then just the friendliness that I've encountered within this community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same for me. I feel like the community was a huge thing of just having people that I could, I don't know, talk about this cool thing that is piquing my interest, and it also piques their interest. Mm-hmm. Just the pure beauty of looking at something new, and then the learning experience of just like learning something, retaining it, and being generally just like intrigued by it is exciting.
Yeah.
As just like a lifelong learner.
That's what I like about it is like growing up, I remember all these old timers, out on the farm that would be like, oh, that's this kind of tree. Oh, that's this kind of plant. That's this kind of bird. And I always admired that they knew all that stuff. It's like knowledge that's just learned in life and passed down from, their parents and grandparents.
That's both of our dads too, right?
Yeah, they
Like
just know they know their environment.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just always wanted to be more aware of my environment, what's in it, and the kinds of plants and animals and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff around. So yeah, once you came on and these guys got fired up, and I didn't go out that much, but
I don't know if you've ever
still-
gone out with us.
One time in the winter.
Yeah, I brought hot chocolate.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
and I really enjoyed
I think
that.
that was right before I came on.
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
you said you guys, the three of you had gone on,
Yep.
and then the three of us went on.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I guess he's not coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just looking up into the trees and, you know, you start to recognize sounds and you can tell, you know, pinpoint them a little bit better and all that stuff. And it's really cool. And the faster you see them, the cool kind of stuff you can see,
Yeah.
like what these animals are doing, which most people aren't paying attention to. But it's really interesting. I saw a nest of robins grow up a month or so ago, and they all flew off and disappeared. And then one day I saw a robin flying in like it was out of gas. There was hardly anything,
Like
just gliding.
Making it back across the
Yeah.
English Channel with boa holes in the wings.
Yep. It's just sputtering. And it hits a tree and like latches onto a branch and kind of flaps back up to balance and then hops up over to another tree, like just learning how to fly.
Yeah.
And I was like, are those the little babies that were in that nest? And then sure enough, this adult robin flies. I see it pick up a worm out of the grass and then fly up and feed it to that
Nice.
There you go.
little bird. And that was really
Special.
cool to watch.
Yeah.
Did you know how many photos I've gotten of a robin with like 10 worms in its mouth? Maybe not 10, like 5 worms. And they're just like all lined up on it, like along its beak.
They're good at that.
It's so crazy.
I know
Well,
I said
yeah.
this last time I was on, but birds are the like ultimate example of like the best parents
Oh,
that you're
yeah.
gonna find.
Even
Like,
the ones raising the brown-headed cowbirds.
well, I was gonna say except for the brown-headed cowbird parents specifically.
Yeah. Dude, I have a picture of I think it was a marsh sparrow and this brown-headed cowbird baby just going crazy, like following it around. And it was kind of, I knew what was going on.
Yeah.
But it's just like, man, I feel like this swamp sparrow is just like, gotta be like, dude, what the fuck? I'm feeding you. Calm
they're
down.
like twice
and
the
it was
size.
just, yeah, and it's way bigger. Like, yeah, literally twice the size. And it's just going crazy.
I've
That's
seen
the one thing I notice is baby birds are just really annoying. I would be annoyed if I were the parents. Like, I just got here, and their mouths are
They're like,
pointed
"Feed me."
to the
Yeah.
sky, wide open.
that's the same when I
take
get
it
home from work.
easy.
It's not that different. My kids are like, feed me, feed me, feed me. Yeah.
But I think like that's what keeps me going back out is like once you're out there a lot and paying attention to what's going on, you see so much crazy shit.
Oh yeah.
Like just like I have a picture behind me of a blue heron with a fish in its mouth. Like you see so much, like half the time you see a hawk or a raptor, they're carrying something, like some kind of prey that they just caught.
Yeah.
And like at Eagle Marsh, there's 3 juvenile bald eagles that are getting ready to fledge any day now. And like I'm waiting because I want to try to get photos of them learning how to fish. And there's 2 huge lakes right by their nest. So I'm assuming that's probably where they're going to fish. And I'm just going to post that.
So cool.
Yeah. And while you're there, it's a marsh, so there's birds everywhere. Like while you're waiting to.
You know, they're not just flying around.
Yeah.
They're doing shit.
Yeah.
I think for me, like the biggest thing for me was just like once I got into birding, then I just realized how much beautiful things are around all the time, and it just made me appreciate every single day more and more.
Yep.
Of just
Yeah.
like slow down, have a second, and like enjoy, like even in whatever kind of times you're living in, and there is negativity around you, like there's
Yeah.
still a beautiful thing around you to enjoy. I think that's my takeaway from birding.
Oh, yeah, dude, if I don't go out for a week, to me, you know how some people say like working out relieves stress, you know? For me, it's like when I'm out, all you're focused on is what's happening around you, the noises, looking for movement, and you're not thinking about anything else. It's like meditating. Like you're just
It's
It is.
hiking.
It's definitely
like
like
yeah,
backpacking.
Yep.
it's
Like
awesome.
you're completely disconnected from the world because your senses are elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Intentional focus on something, whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
But whether it's meditation, or relaxing, whatever that is. But that is definitely what it is. It is meditation.
I'm going to jump in here because we've been telling stories for quite some time and we have some questions that we want to get to, okay? You could definitely tell our excitement because Brad and Travy and I have probably talking more since we started about our experiences. But we have a birder. We have quite the birder in the house. Well, I understand, but you're not at 268 yet. And we invited him here for a reason, not to share our stories and gloat, but to ask him some information to maybe make ourselves be a little better. So you brought up just a little bit ago, like how much you enjoyed the birding aspect of it, what you kind of got into and just taking yourself away from everything. I guess the question I wanted to ask first was just how you made that transition from I just like to go out here and there. That's what I want to do for my days off or my evenings off, to having like a special interest in birding to the point where I don't think either of us or any of us could go out there and know a bird by the sound or by the look without bins. I mean, you've just like, it is quite incredible. So how did that get there?
I'm trying to think. So I know I told this story last time I was on about finding a Baltimore Oriole that had just been hit by. So that would have been spring.
And giving it to your friend, right?
Yeah, and I gave it to my friend. That's
freezer?
Jabin. That's the guy who looked at my pictures of the back of cameras. So that would have been spring. I want to say it escalated extremely fast from there. Like straight up the mountain fast.
Yeah.
It went from like, oh, there's a beautiful bird. Oh, I'm going to spend all the rest of my time looking at birds.
Yeah. But not just looking at birds. That's what I'm interested in, is like, when did you start picking up the idea that I'm going to know the songs, know the calls, know the look without, everything? You have a kind of a manual way of doing it.
I think it just went straight from kind of like having blinders on and being very focused. And I'm doing things with my hands here that no one can see on the podcast, to just like full spectrum. Just let me take all this in at once and see what I can retain.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I went. And I was fortunate to have friends that kind of had a lot of knowledge about it to take me out and just be like, okay, let's listen to all of this and focus in on this sound over here and this sound over here. But it would definitely have been my second round of migration, to where you go from interest and like really high interest, but like low, retainment of that.
Yeah.
To all of a sudden now you have like really high level of interest and high level of retainment of that information.
Yeah.
It's your second time around. Now you're not just like learning, you retained it, you remember it, and now you're practicing it.
Yeah.
Dude.
And then it was just like full on like Savannah Sparrow. You know what I mean? Like you could hear at one time, like Savannah Sparrow over there, field sparrow over there,
Chipping sparrow straight ahead.
Yep. Dead ahead.
and then it feels like you're not just being defeated and learning, but actually you can practice this thing and like you can land that kick flip, like back to skateboarding we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
It's like you land that first one or two and it's like, okay, now I'm into it.
Oh, there's some pride.
Let's do this. Yeah.
And
right.
And
dude.
it's like, I hear that chirping sparrow. Now I got to find it. I know it's there.
Right.
I hear it.
Yeah.
I know it's there.
That's gonna. We were just talking about that. It's going to be fun getting into next year, like starting in January, February, of just clearing the slate and going back to town.
It's fun to look at it at a annual view.
Yeah.
Especially if you're even if you're backyard birding.
Right.
You're just looking at your own baseline of like your everyday. Here's what I hang out with. Here's what I hear. Here's what I see.
Yeah.
This is my neighborhood. And it's not just Jeff who lives across the street, but it's also, these tufted titmouse that live right there.
Right.
Like they're part of it as well.
Yeah.
Because the truth is they actually are part of it.
Yeah.
And we're just including them, recognizing them and acknowledging them. And I feel like that's probably part of it, of what grew my serious interest in it, was just noticing my own neighborhood birds.
Yeah.
As well, and getting to know them and seeing them every single day, seeing their patterns. And for me, it was a part of my life where it like I put up a bird feeder right outside my window at work and kind of made it part of my daily routine of like de-stressing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I have one at work.
I was
Like somebody
self-employed,
I
so
know.
This was his backyard.
didn't have to
Gotcha.
ask the boss. It was,
Gotcha.
put it up right there, but it made my day better.
Yeah, I get it. I very much get it.
Yeah.
So in terms of like your growth, I know it was rapid. But what was some of like the most rewarding parts of that kind of just like kept propelling that? Like, I'm sure if you went a year or 2 years and there was no amount of learning or growth, that you kind of would have died out like anything. Like, it's just not fun, or it's miserable or something along those lines. So there's had to have been something rewarding kind of every step of that way. Can you describe or tell us any part of that reward system? Like, what pushed you? What moments did?
I mean, I think I've said this, but I'm a very natural kind of like, I'm a learner at core. If I'm not learning, I feel pretty stagnant as just kind of myself. But man, I mean, just showing off to like somebody who actually knows their shit, like my buddy Casey or Jamin, is like, if I'm with them and it's like, oh, do you hear that? That chestnut-sided warbler right there, and he's like, "Oh, you are right." It's like, well, yeah, you got like 5 more years experience than me, but I mean, like, it gets competitive. It's like, it's fun like that.
Yeah.
For me, I have young kids too, and like when I first got into birding, so taking them out and also hearing or seeing them learn, and enjoy it, and saying, and they're experiencing that at the same time. Like, we're all learning this together, as a group.
Yeah.
We're all going to retain this information. I hope that they also find the beauty and the joy in this that I do. That's what, I don't know if that answers your question.
No, dude, it's your story, and I definitely understand that. Brad and I and Bazzy, my son, went out to the Maumee, and I think I had that realization when we were out there at like 9:30 at night looking at an American woodcock doing its performance that I did not see, and I still couldn't see.
Dance.
The paint.
But I had my little 10-year-old out there, and he was enthused by it all. Like, he enjoyed. I don't think he complained one time. He was enjoying every step of the way. So I totally understand that. If that's your reward, then that's your reward.
It's just the wonder of just seeing, like, again, it's like you're living in it all the time. You're surrounded by it. You're just unaware that it's happening. And once you're aware and recognize that it is happening, you can't do anything except enjoy the fact that it's happening everywhere around you.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense or not, but that really sums it up for me of just like, it's like all of a sudden from in the Wizard of Oz, like it's color and you can see everything.
Yes.
Birds everywhere.
That's a great analogy, dude. You hear it all. It's so everywhere. It's almost deafening sometimes.
Right.
You know?
Sure.
It's beautiful.
Like there will be birds now where I'm just like, would you just stop?
Just
so
please
that
stop.
I can hear the other things.
Red-winged blackbirds.
Red-winged blackbirds. My Lord.
I know what you mean. I'm getting ready to go camping up at the dunes.
Nice.
And the last 2 years I've gone there have been eastern whippoorwills.
Oh.
And it's the only place I've ever heard them in my entire life.
My property.
You've heard them here?
No, up in Michigan.
Up in Michigan?
Our property. Yep.
Can you give us an example?
It's like
they make their sound. They say their name in their call. Whippoorwill.
Nice.
but it's like at 10, like volume 10.
Yes.
Oh.
And it's at night, right?
And it's only from like, let's say 11 o'clock at night until about 5 in the morning.
Yep, it's true.
And it's so loud. And
What the hell are they doing?
they're just trying to get their thing going.
Yeah.
You know, trying to find somebody to hang with.
It's a mating call?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I believe so.
But that's why they say it's bad to play bird sounds to try to goad them in, because you don't know if you're saying, "Hey, I'm dying, come help me," or if you're saying, "I want to breed." You don't know what you're telling the other birds.
True.
Yeah, you could stress them out.
Yeah,
Just from that.
yeah.
It's a
You
great call.
You can make them leave their nest and leave their babies like unattended.
Damn, just by
like,
saying one little.
well, by like
Well, because you
playing-
don't
like,
know what it is.
like
You're just playing sounds.
Yeah, like if you're playing a call on your phone, trying to get it to come out so you can see it, you're causing it stress.
Yep.
Well, I'm trying to think what mother would abandon her children just because somebody
Well,
yelled
she was
something.
attacked.
Yeah.
Because they usually do leave and hope the kids are just camouflaged enough or something that they won't be
follow
found.
her.
Or if,
So on
if they can fly.
So on the other side of the reward part, what's some of the more challenging aspects of where you've gone? Like, where do you think we're going to find, or Brad, I mean, let's be real, where's Brad going to find his challenges going forward?
The juiciest birding morsels.
Oh my gosh.
Was it the sounds? Was it the calls? Was it being able to spot it from a distance without bins? Like, what?
Looking for birds in the fall is going to be a challenge.
Yeah.
Like you just came off of spring where everything's vibrant. They've all got their mating foliage. Like, I mean, like their feathers are fully
Looking
dressed
good.
out.
Yeah.
Like, come look at me. I'm different. Here's who I am. Hello. Look at me. The fall is much different. It is like I'm camouflaged. I blend into the trees. Males look like females. All the warblers look identical. So trying to tell the difference of them is nearly impossible.
I do. Like,
But that's the challenge.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I did ask you that, and you said like all the warblers will look the same, and I was kind of like, oh, dang.
But they are still different.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, maybe one has,
It's harder to tell.
I don't know, maybe a slightly bolder eye ring
Yeah,
than something else that looks very similar.
man, eye rings.
Are you
That's a
saying
big.
the challenge is yet to come?
Yeah.
I'm saying if you only birded in the fall and never did the spring, that would be the most challenging. That would be the ultra marathon of running right there.
Yeah.
Are you a 3-season birder, Brad?
Well, for me, it's
question.
It's probably almost come. Like they're probably par and par with each other of getting a good photo versus seeing a new bird. Like I'm almost as like I'm just as happy to get a really good photo of a cardinal or something that I see all the time than I am to get add a new bird to my life list. And so I feel like no matter what, if I see a cardinal, like it's tough to straight up tuft, it's straight up and it's just screaming and it's like a good composition. I'm always going to take that photo no matter what.
You have another reason to go out too
Yeah.
with the photography thing,
Yeah.
just because I could see somebody going out after they've got 266 birds on their list and they're going out every spring and everything and looking for something new and just see the same thing over and over again, you know? And, but if you're out and your intention is to take good photographs,
Yeah.
of any birds.
Yeah, or
I think
landscape,
that would
sunsets.
definitely like keep you going.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit more.
That's what, like, I'm probably going to maybe get up at like 7 a.m. tomorrow and head out to the marsh to try to catch that early rush.
But I also think if you're in it 100% just to check boxes and you're not actually out there enjoying yourself in nature, then you're probably going to burn out a little bit quicker.
Well, and I have one of my friends, Laura, she like rebinds books. And I said, do you think you could make me like a scrapbook that I can put, because really good photos, I always print out an 8x10 or I order it and get it printed. And so now she's making me this really cool looking, like she got like silk paper and this really cool, it's going to look awesome. And I'm going to be able to put all my photos in this book.
You're going to have that like on your like coffee table
Yeah.
at home?
That's called
that's
a portfolio.
Yeah. But this is
Awesome.
But this is like a coffee table book of all my photos, like my best photos. I'll have like a crappier book that I buy at Michael's that'll be like the not as good photos. But then like all my best ones are going to be in this one.
Would you be offended if somebody opened it and only looked at like the first couple pages and then closed it?
Probably. Like the first 5 pages are all worn and greasy and the rest is like perfect.
And they're just like, meh.
Yeah.
on
That's
from
not
that.
that cool.
Like, I got those birds in my backyard. What do I need to look at? It's a great question.
All right, then I have just another one. I want to round this top of just kind of easier questions, although I do have another couple easier questions.
Sounds
But
like this is going to get heavier.
I have a would you rather question for you, and I'm curious just to how you look at this. But would you rather be able to identify any bird by its call alone or be able to mimic any bird call on the spot perfectly?
Oh, God.
Like in terms of birding. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes. Holy cow, that's a big question.
What would help out
Okay.
a birder the most?
Okay, well, if I can identify, okay, so the second choice, I can mimic it,
Yeah.
but I don't know what bird I'm mimicking.
No, you know what bird. I mean, in terms of being able to call.
You see what I'm
Isn't
saying?
that the same thing?
You see what I'm saying? So the first choice, I know which bird is singing, but I can't mimic
The
it.
second
The
choice.
second one, I can.
You know both.
Oh shit.
So
How
the,
to-
so the second one, the second one
hear and how
is
to
my
say it.
choice, please.
Well, and I don't know how mimicking would help you bird. go birding.
Well, all those mothers would leave their nests.
You'd be stressing them
Just
out.
throwing out bird
Yeah,
calls.
for some reason, God damn it! For some reason, I was thinking about it. When I was doing this question, I was thinking about it in two completely separate ways. But you guys made perfect sense there, and it's taken me completely out of that game.
The answer is I want to be able to know the bird that is singing definitively, confidently, every single time.
Yeah.
So yes,
Okay,
I would say.
okay.
That's
the important one.
Bing bang boom.
But I can't tell.
You want to not only mimic the bird, but know what bird you're mimicking.
I love it.
Well, I guess there could be
dude.
a person that has learned all the calls of a bird, but never learned the
Their
names.
names.
Of the
That's what I mean. That's if that was the choice. If it was just being able to mimic it, but I don't know what bird I'm talking to.
Okay. So
Give me some
would you
definitions.
rather go like you're walking out into the marsh,
Deal.
you're hearing all these birds call? Would you rather be able to know exactly what birds those are, or would you rather be able to go out into that marsh and make those bird songs and attract those birds
Okay.
alone?
I would rather know the bird songs
Know the bird songs?
and be like, okay, that is a, Kirkland's warbler.
Yeah.
And that is it for
But
sure.
you could also go out there and know that there's a whatever warbler you just said and mimic that call and potentially get it to come to you.
but
Do you
not
know,
know
the
its
party
name.
tricks
But not
that you
know
could
its
pull
name.
off?
You wouldn't call it Jor. Oh yeah, you would know its name. Like in the Big Year, Jack Black's character in the Big Year could mimic all of those sounds, like over 500 species of birds or something, he said. So you could hypothetically go out there where you know that you're looking for a specific species of bird, make that call and attract it. Or the other one is go out there and know what calls are around you.
And in this world, you're not causing it stress by calling it.
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
None of the negative stuff. None of the negative stuff.
Oh
This is
my
a would you rather.
Do you guys want to see a bald eagle?
Hey, lady.
He's just holding a fish.
I think I go with the first one. Just
Okay,
having,
you're
having
sticking
the
with that one.
knowledge.
Okay.
Having the knowledge of like, yeah, that song is this.
Dude, that would be pretty tight. I think it'd be
Knowledge is
awesome if
power.
you're like,
But then also AI just kind of does it with the
Merlin?
app does it already. I don't need that knowledge.
yeah.
It is nice for a learning tool.
It's so much better to just say, "Yep, I know that's a."
It
an
is pretty
Eastern
cool
bluebird,"
when you
and then
do
it
that.
is.
It is pretty gnarly
just
when
feels
we're
good.
walking down the trail and you're like, boom, there's this.
Yep.
I remember one time you were like, hey, I hear this sound. I think it's going to be, yep, there it is right there. And you pointed right to it. And I was like, no shit.
Yep.
All right, let's grab this photo.
Actually, the two lifers that I got this spring were like that. I was like, man, what is that? I know what it is. I know what it is. I'm hiking with my kids. I don't even think that I had any service from my phone to work. And I was like, this has to be Louisiana water thrush, and like recorded it and then had to like figure it out later.
Oh,
Like that was
dang.
like the fun of it.
Yeah.
Same with the winter wren. I was like, that's the most beautiful wren. I think I wrote you guys. I was like, I've
Yeah.
got a new favorite bird.
Yeah, you
It's
did.
the winter wren.
Yeah.
You did.
And it was the same thing. It was like, it has to be that. It's so loud. It's so beautiful. And it, again, had no service because I was out hiking on the Appalachian Trail and like
Yeah.
off of it.
Cool.
Yeah.
The cedar waxwing. I thought that was your favorite. It changed.
Visual favorite.
Oh, okay. Aesthetically, that's your favorite.
Yeah.
bird.
I actually can't hear their call. It's not in my like, I don't know if it's an aging thing. I don't know what it is, but like I can never hear them ever. It bums me out.
You know what's really weird is I've seen dozens and dozens of cedar waxwings, but I've only heard their little like squeak. I've never heard of them do an actual call, like song.
Yeah. The squeak is what I'm talking about. And like, I never hear it.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
like it's in my frequency. I can't hear it or something.
it's like a oh really?
yeah.
It's a weird one. Like it's so high pitched.
It's like,
Yeah.
like even higher than that. Like
yeah.
I can't.
Like you have to be standing still and there has to be no other noise going on.
Did we hear one
Okay,
down
that
there in
makes-
Virginia?
That makes me feel better
Yeah.
because
When we were
otherwise I'm like,
It
Merlin
really is a
says
high-pitched
they're,
squeak.
Oh, no.
yeah, it's so high
No.
up.
when we were at trail days in Virginia, I kept hearing them everywhere, and I thought I was going crazy because there was like hundreds of people, thousands of people around, and all the trees were filled with cedar waxwings. And then we get to
To the brim.
enlightened like tent, gear and lighting gear. I think that's what it was. And there's a dude taking pictures. He's like, "Oh yeah, there's cedar waxwings everywhere up there."
Nice.
And I was like, "Damn."
Nice.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
We were staying in Osprey.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was
Because
Osprey.
you and the guy
Yeah.
chatted it up about
Yeah.
it.
He had a sweet camera setup.
Yeah, he did. Cool.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't see him.
I don't know that I
see those
I didn't
cedar
even hear
waxwings?
him, so I have terrible
I
hearing.
can't hear him
so.
at all.
Yeah.
It's
That
just-
dude was running the booth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's right.
he saw a bird fly in that tree, and he was like, "I gotta go." He went and
Yeah.
grabbed a camera and ran out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was about to buy a pack.
So you're saying I could work for Osprey?
Yes,
Sounds like-
yes, you could. All right, I have another serious question.
Ask
Okay, this is another one that you guys will probably figure out a way to tear apart until I figure it out
I'm
again.
sorry about that one.
No,
I got
okay.
lost in it.
I expect it from all three of you.
He's used to it from me. I always tear apart his,
Yes, he
his
does.
questions.
Well, technically,
Yeah. So what is your? I'm interested. I'm interested in this, and I'm interested to know what your favorite movie pertaining to birds is. This is quite the eclectic 4 choices you have.
Okay.
Okay, and the big ear is not on it, begrudgingly to all of you people.
No worries.
Number 1, The Birds.
the birds.
The Birds, Alfred Hitchcock,
Okay.
1963. Number 2, The Angry Birds, 2016.
Who was the director
That
of
was
that?
a
Not a clue.
computer
what's that?
animated film.
Yes.
Is that Spielberg?
Number 3, The Crow,
Scorsese.
1994. Or
Oh,
number
there we
4,
go.
Happy Feet,
Oh, that's
2006.
the penguins.
I don't know why I had the years included.
Also computer
who
animated?
cares?
I'm going to go with the birds.
The Birds?
Yeah, definitely the birds.
We just watched that probably like 3 days ago, and it's pretty darn awesome.
Is
Like,
it terrifying?
it's not like terrifying, but it's also kind of terrifying. Like it's like listening to War of the Worlds, the original version. You have to put yourself into that mindset.
Yep.
And then it's like, holy smokes.
Oh,
This
God.
would have freaked the
Bird.
shit out of people when they knew no better.
I mean, that would be terrible.
It leaves a lot to the imagination, like the whole time, which just lets you just get yourself terrified.
Yeah.
Versus like terrifying you. Right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
No, it's good. I recommend I mean, anything by Alfred Hitchcock is kind of just interesting and goofy and good.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen The Birds.
Nail it,
Have to
dude.
check it out.
You can chalk it off. Now you have a birding movie life
Yeah,
list.
jeez.
Yeah. Come on. That's exciting
I
too.
did watch The Big Year.
There's 5
Big
in that.
Year's solid. Yeah. What?
Yeah, there's 5. Yeah.
No, there's actually quite the list. There's a doc.
Or no, Batman's not a bird.
No, it's not a bird. There's a really good doc.
Birdman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Birdman.
Keaton.
Yep.
That's a
Does that
great
count?
one.
I've
Hell
watched-
yeah,
I've
that
watched that.
counts.
He turns
Done.
into a bird.
Add it to my birding movie life.
There's a
list.
really good documentary I think on Amazon Prime right now about it's just called Loons, and it's all about the loon. Yeah, it was great.
When you go up into Michigan, do you hear loons calling
No,
up there?
not at our property. When we're on the river, I don't really hear anything when I'm on the river, but I will attest that I have not been on a boating trip since I've become more since I've added 112 birds. You know what I mean? So that's all of these experiences I'm having outdoors have been different. Like, you know what I'm saying?
No, it makes
I
it-
imagine the
makes
Isle
everything
Royale is going to be different because I'm going to just be staring up in the air the whole time,
Yeah.
trip and fall.
When you were talking about your Smoky Mountains trip, that made me realize we're not going to have Merlin at Isle Royal.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That'll be different.
Yeah. So we'll have to
Cool.
we'll have to figure it out.
Just take photos.
Yeah.
Let me know how that goes. If you have because you can record some stuff and
Yeah.
yeah.
Use the voice recorder. And,
Yeah.
my camera, if I record video, it'll record. It has a mic
Sound.
on it. I could get a boom mic added to it.
Jeez. That's the next thing Brad gets. Boom mic for a bird.
Well, no, I'm sorry. It's a shot. It's called a shotgun mic.
Shotgun
not
mic,
a boom
yeah.
mic.
Yeah.
I was thinking you got to hire
Yeah.
somebody to do that for you.
Travis, you got to carry a boom now.
Travis, by the way,
Good luck.
that's the next tier.
That's so good. I want this to happen.
But yeah, so
Nice.
now I'm gonna have to look up what birds we'll see and start listening to the
So you're
to
gonna
their
be there in
calls.
August, right?
Yeah,
Oh my goodness. I can't imagine what you're gonna see.
yeah. I don't know.
If all I want is a loon. I want to wake up and I want to have a coffee out of that new MSR Pocket Rocket and the Sea to Summit kettle I got.
There you
and
go.
sit there and listen to loons over the lake.
Have
in
you
the
seen a
middle of-
loon yet? Do you have it on your life list?
No.
No.
It's just birds that I've like. Whenever there's a movie where it's set in a cabin somewhere in the woods, inevitably throughout that movie they'll get up early in the morning and a loon will be calling.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's just always been just it's awesome.
I've only seen loons around here, and they don't call when they're here.
No,
Oh.
because they're
I've
not
seen
mating.
They're passing through, and you
Yeah.
see them like hunting and resting,
Right.
and doing all those things. But no, I've never heard one call ever in my life.
Wow.
One of my friends, Chip,
I want to.
you know Chip,
Yeah.
at work, he was out in, I think it's New Hampshire, or Vermont, one of those northeastern states. And he had videos of like they were staying on a lake, and he had videos of loons like diving and catching stuff, and it looked super cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah, jealous.
Yeah, I've got a spot. I usually see them really early in the season. Like some of the earliest birds that I see are loons, usually coming through. Because they have such a great like distance to travel
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
the breeding grounds. Like they're way up there.
Like in the the
Oh.
Arctic Circle, right? Or damn near, yeah.
Whoa. I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Because like part of it, I think like Alaska is the red-throated loons, or there's some loon that's like super endangered that goes through Alaska, and
Yep.
a lot of those like where they want to drill for oil and stuff, or a lot of their like breeding grounds and like the gates of the Arctic.
Really?
So yeah, it's a
Damn,
big
that
deal.
is far. Woo. And that air gets thin up there too.
Yeah.
That's tough
right.
flying.
All right, you Looney Tunes.
Yeah, nice.
Do we have any more questions for Chad?
Yeah, I have about 4 more.
4 more.
Oh yeah, dude.
Well, let's get going.
We finally okay. All right. I'm curious. What aspect of birding fascinates you the most? Okay, so what I'm looking for is something deeper than just seeing a favorite bird or something along those lines. But is it like conservation? Is it migration patterns? Could it be something like birding behavior, or could it be something just entirely different?
So I would say it's a combo
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, it's definitely learning something new.
Yeah.
Just because I love to learn new things. It's getting involved in somehow facilitating like the future of that species,
Right.
And that could be through conservation.
Damn right. Yeah.
100% through that. I've got pretty high hopes for the organizations that I do work with and I support and even volunteer for. So I would say those two things are probably my biggest 2 motivators.
Yep.
If that's the question. I
Yeah.
love to learn. I love to see something new. I love to learn a call. I love to see a bird I've never seen before. But like the longevity of that, carrying on into the long distance future is my next biggest interest.
And that's the conservation
Yes.
side, making sure that they're there for the next generation or
Right.
something along those lines. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I think
I
that's
get
kind
that.
of the natural way that progresses is once you start getting out there a little bit, and then you're like, oh, I really like this. This is great. This is beautiful. I'm going to go plan maybe a bigger trip and go do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually you're just like, I absolutely love seeing these beautiful places. And then after that, you're just like, I want to protect
Yeah.
these beautiful places.
Learn it, love it, leave it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. Like leave
And
Yeah.
it the same.
I think everybody's on the same page for that.
And that could be as big or as small as even saying, like someone I work with recently asked me something about, I think they mistook some birds that are on their property that dive bomb them all the time when they're mowing. And like, can I do anything about these birds? And it's like, well, describe them to me. And they're like, well, I think they're orioles. And it's like, well, describe them to me. Where do they live? And it said, well, they're in the cattails by this lake by my house. And it's like, well, that's probably not orioles. That's
Yeah.
probably
They build
a
this in
red-winged blackbird.
trees.
And they're like, well, can I do anything about them? They drive me crazy when I mow.
Definitely a red-winged blackbird.
Oh, because they're
It
getting
is.
close to the nest.
Yeah, and they're very aggressive. They're going to swoop after you. They're going to protect their babies that they have going on in there. And the answer there is like, no, you can't do anything. Just leave them alone.
Like, and
Yeah.
I think legally
Deal
you
with
can't
it.
do
Well,
anything.
that's the biggest answer is like legally, no,
Yeah.
you cannot do anything. They are protected. Leave them alone and go about your life in a different
they
way.
don't ever actually hit you, right?
Stop
They
being
will-
a weenie.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
But there's other birds that are like, okay, so like sandhill cranes are also protected, and you can't hunt them in the state of Indiana where we live, but in the state of Nebraska, I think, and maybe we should look this up in real time, but I'm pretty sure they can be hunted.
By science around here.
Yes, we do.
All right. Out west somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that they can be hunted, and that's effective to their population, right?
Yeah.
It does happen. And I'm not necessarily against them being hunted if their population is sustainable for that. But just informing people to say like, hey, that red-winged blackbird is protected, and yes, there are a ton of them around, but also there should be, because they're the ones that are keeping the mosquitoes off of you. They're the ones keeping the ticks off of you. All of these other bugs that you're going to complain about. So if you didn't have them, you would have these other problems, and just educating people that way.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah,
You want to know what's funny? Did you originally say Nebraska?
I did.
You gave a big oof when I saw you look
It's
that
just,
up.
it's kind of funny. So the states where you can hunt them in the Central Flyway: Colorado, Kansas, Montana, New Mexico, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Texas, and Wyoming. Nebraska is the only Central Flyway state that does not allow you to hunt sandhill cranes.
Good for you,
So you-
Nebraska.
Good
I
for
love
you.
So you had it. Like you probably just
It's like the
Look at
cutoff.
it.
It's the
Yeah.
cutoff right there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
I would have never guessed that many states
Yep.
allowed it.
I believe they.
There's got to be a small take
Why
or
do
something.
they have a hunt? Is it to keep populations down, or is it?
There's a name for the sandhill crane, like ribeye of the sky or something.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
It tastes good, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
And they probably do, and I bet all the ducks taste great too. And I'm not anti
No,
hunting.
I
on
get what
those
you're
things.
saying, but it's for us. I think the joy is looking and enjoying the natural environment and the way that they do their things.
Yeah.
And it's just a short answer, because if I had to answer the question I asked you, it would be the migration pattern. That blew my mind. Brad and I were checking out that bird cast, and like one day it's like 1,000 birds crossed in overnight. Then all of a sudden the next day it's so millions of birds that my cousin sent me, that some like this year or maybe other years the forecast
Yeah.
was showing up, like the weather
Doppler.
forecast,
Yeah.
like it was talking about birds and not a storm cloud. There was that many, like millions and millions of birds. And then you can like kind of know that number and you have an idea. But then we went to Maumee, and we'll go to the dunes next year. But I mean, like, it was insane. Like, just everywhere you looked was a different species of bird. Everywhere you looked. And then on top of that, if peak migration and a storm comes through and they all sit,
Yeah.
like that, I could see where that is like we gotta go. We gotta be there. Like, that was the migration to me so far has been the thing I've really enjoyed.
Oh, it's definitely all the excitement. And when I think about humans' interactions in that time of like, okay, you've got a bird flying 4,000 miles to get to where its destination is, and the fact that I could impact their journey on that, just being somebody driving a car or having really shiny windows at my house that they can run into, like those, what seemed like, for the, like, no better pun for it, but like for like the low impact things in my life of having like windows that I can just see through.
Yep.
For a bird that's traveling like 4,000 miles, like, man, if you just had some like impact little dots on your windows and they could survive that and see it and avoid it and get to their destination, I feel like that's like the least we can do.
Yeah. Well, funny that you bring that up, because I have a pretty long question to ask you, and I think it's pretty substantial. But I want to just kind of give you some stats, and then I want to get in the question, okay? According to ornithology.com, a total of 163 species of birds may have been lost in the last 500 years. And these extinctions are still happening, and potentially more rapidly, with an estimated total of 19 species lost in the last 25 years, and 3 species to have gone extinct since year 2000. And then I listed some of the birds. But I bring this up because I'm wondering, in your birding adventures, all of your time out and over the span of a few years, or 10 years you said, or something along those lines.
Yeah, getting close to it.
So that's a pretty substantial amount of time in terms of what Brad and I have been doing. And I'm just curious, have you witnessed anything over those times, like maybe a place that you went 10 years ago that isn't near as populated, or it's destroyed or overtaken or something along those lines? Like, have you seen those impacts that humanity has had on birds and birding?
100%. 100%. Having great websites like eBird that have kind of like designated user generated like science data is so impactful for this. Just north of where I live, there's an eBird hotspot called I want to say it's like farm shore birding something that somebody named it. And then it has crazy species like attributed to this exact location. Avocets and like things that I've never seen in Indiana,
right,
are attributed to this. And this happened like the first year that I got into birding. I got onto eBird and I was like, oh, this place is just north of me. That's so cool. I can't wait to go see all of these cool birds, blackneck stilts and like beautiful things. Like
this blackneck stilts are awesome.
7 miles from my house. Like I'm very excited about it. And I go there spring. It's called the Mud Flats. That's what it's called. And I get there, and they tiled the whole area. Do you guys know what tiling is?
No. What?
Like for farm fields, right?
Drainage?
Yeah. Tiling is drainage. So you're going to bury basically big tubes in the ground that are all connected to make the water flow out into the rivers really fast.
That is what Eagle Marsh was before Little River Wetland Project bought it.
Really?
It was farm. It was all drained farmland.
So they restored it. So this area went from being just a muddy, gross kind of mushy place, marshland,
beautiful place,
that attracted all of these crazy species of birds annually. Damn. And I don't just mean like, sometimes they would show up and sometimes they wouldn't, but it was like they were documented every single year.
Yeah,
it's great. A friend of mine in that area goes pretty hard on the birding up there. His name's John Kendall. He's a great dude. But he had been birding there for decades and documenting these birds showing up there. And they tiled it and just drained it all. And now it's just...
That is a fucking bummer.
Now it's just corn. And like, how boring is that? And...
Can't do much about that.
Gosh, it's so boring. And it's like, this is an area where I've gone and like, it's the same general square couple mileage where I go see... short-eared owls like hunting in like the 6 to 8 like in a group, like hunting these large fields and seeing owls work together and seeing northern harriers and short-eared owls like fighting over commodities like these little voles that run all over this. So like it's this beautiful property, but instead they just drained it. And now they got corn growing, and that's about as boring as you can get to me.
That is a terribly great example for my question.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, it does suck.
Do you know if like any sort of like, was it just overnight, like approved and started, or was there any sort of like fight back from the community?
I mean, if it's privately owned,
this is out in the middle of nowhere. Its land touches no one else's land. You know what I mean?
There's nothing anybody could do about it.
The people who have the power to make decisions on that at a local level, a state level, are not interested in birding.
Yeah.
They're interested in, let's make general rules statewide that affect businesses in a positive light.
Yeah.
Can I build a housing development on this land, whether it is designated for wetland or whether it's something else? That's what they're making rules on.
Yeah.
So if anything, those people have made it easier to do what I witnessed in this area now, almost a decade ago.
Wow.
They made it easier to build more houses. Exactly.
Yeah.
On land that's not appropriate to build on because it's not the right type of landscape to actually build a house on.
Right.
That's why it's still there with no houses on it because it's such a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But once you get to a certain level and you've already taken all this land, the good stuff to build things on, then you're like, well, we can spend a little extra money and build on that swamp real quick.
Yeah. And I mean, I know you guys don't love to get super political on this podcast, but there are things that are out there of like, now you have kind of a push for companies to promote things like carbon capture, which is a huge thing nationally to be able to market and gather interest to people to be interested in capturing carbon. But the greatest carbon capture you can ever have, to my knowledge, and I'd love to hear from people who know more than me, but is wetlands. Like, just let them.
That's what I've always read too.
It's like it does carbon capturing at a scale that we cannot reproduce.
Yeah.
So
Wow, I didn't know that. That's cool. I got that. Yeah, I've heard of that. That's why. Do you know the science behind why a wetlands would be so carbon friendly?
I think a lot of plants feed on CO2.
Oh, so it's just the sheer amount of vegetation?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like the rainforest.
Yeah. I get.
Yeah.
Oh, I get what you're saying. All right.
one of your biggest areas of biodiversity is going to be in a wetland.
Yeah.
Or in a rainforest, like what you're
And
describing.
like along the ocean where there's marshland,
Right.
That's like a filter for the ocean.
Right.
Like it cleans everything out.
It's just
I got you.
layers of biodiversity stacked on top of each other like a
Exactly.
rainforest.
Compare an acre of modern farmed like land of just
Like
corn.
a corn crop. Like that's the
so
only thing that lives there.
It's a
you know?
monocrop,
Yeah.
and that's all you have, and that's why they run into issues of like fungus issues because it's all so condensed. But compared to something that is super biodiverse, like a wetland, you've got salamanders, frogs, maybe some fish, an array of bugs, an array of birds, an array of vegetation that's all growing on, that all feeds itself, compared to just one single product that feeds humans
and
or
that needs to
cattle.
be fed by a human.
See what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I do.
Yeah, it's unnatural is what I'm saying, I guess.
I was just at, and I don't know if this is necessarily a kind of a similar thing, but I was just at Indiana Dunes National Park last week. And Sandy, she was a volunteer for the NPS. Wonderful.
Sandy.
She gave me my marching orders for the day of where to go see birds and where to hike and stuff. She was awesome. But she was laying out the map and going over the map with me, and there was a blue heron rookery a little inland. That's where it's like a flock of blue herons nest. She's just put a big X through it and said, "This is gone now. There's like they just don't come here anymore."
Really?
She's like, nobody knows why. They just don't come anymore.
That sucks.
Yeah.
It does suck.
And it's like on the National Park Service map. It has
Oh my gosh.
Blue Heron Rookery is like part of the park.
I can think of the area where you're at,
Yeah.
probably off of like Beverly Shores or like that
Yeah.
kind of road that goes through there.
Yeah.
That's
As
a
I
huge
was
bummer.
gone.
this is a totally different species, but as I was looking up these questions that I was intrigued by, I ran upon a story about lightning bugs. Have you seen this? That there's a good chance that those born in the 90s will be the last generation to witness lightning bugs.
I mean, it's already
Really?
You don't see them,
You hardly
dude.
see 'em.
In the summer at night, we used to see them every
Everywhere.
single night.
I'm telling you right now, on Kensington Boulevard, they're out, baby.
I imagine that. Yeah, enjoy them. I imagine that they're in their pockets, but those pockets would expand so much greater. You know, it's just I don't know. That's just something I come across, and it blew me away because that was such a huge part of growing up.
Oh, yeah.
especially
It's
in the
kinda-
Midwest.
It still is magical to see when there is
When there is one,
abundance of
yeah.
them, and they're just flashing. And I was just thinking about this the other night, how because there'd be these moths, because we like to sit on the porch and drink coffee at nighttime, and these moths will come in, and we're just like, slap them. You know, get away from me. A little lightning bug comes creeping in. You're like holding your hand out. Little bug. And just how we discriminate.
Man, I may have to go visit Kensington Avenue.
shit.
I haven't seen a lightning bug in a while.
I'm telling you,
I
bro.
feel like it's been years.
It's
I agree.
nice. I get a lot of my bird watching done there.
They are out for sure, but I saw that same thing, and,
Did ya?
and it definitely hit a chord in my heart.
Yeah,
where
me
I was just like,
too.
man, there's like no lightning bugs like west of the Colorado like mountain range.
I did.
Like people
Yeah.
who grew up over there, they don't get to see these beautiful things that we can't even. I don't know. I don't know how to explain how they illuminate.
I believe I attempted to on
Brad
one of the
did
News
attempt to,
Panthers.
yeah.
Because we were
Yeah.
talking about in Great Smoky Mountain National Park in Congaree, they have the Lightning Bug Festival thing.
Which would be epic, and I suppose that we have to get there soon.
That's something you
because
have to
Lord
see.
have
it
mercy,
can no
man.
longer be at the bottom of the list.
Yeah,
We
no
need
shit.
to-
It's going to the toppy top. Not that it was at the bottom.
Oh yeah.
Like that's on my Lord of the Rings real life stuff list.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I have one more question, and I'm glad we started talking about farms and kind of what those do to the natural environment, because this question pertains a little bit to that. And the last time you were on, and since the last time you were on, I went ahead and I did listen to John Young's book, What the Robin Knows, and then it extends even further. You have it right there, which is why I wanted to save the best question for last. I would like to borrow that and read it for myself instead of listen to it. And then I also listened to Rachel
Dibs.
Yeah, I'd like to call dibs. I also listened to Rachel Carson's book, Silent Spring. Have you listened to that?
I have not, but I will listen to it.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it came out, I think, in the 60s, something like that. And she just like changed the game. Within the first like week of her putting this out, publishing it, she had 100,000 buys like right away, because
For
all
a
of these
birding book.
So
Holy
it's
cow.
not just a birding book. It actually dives really high into the science of how birds are going to end up being wiped out, and not just birds, but the natural
sounds
environment
sad.
around us because of pesticides and other things.
Yeah.
And she was really the one that just tooted a horn on that at a huge level, you know? And people came after her. That is for certain.
Oh, yeah.
But she lived as a conservationist and an activist for bird species and other things. It's a wonderful, wonderful read or listen. But
I'm
what
going to
I
add it to my list right now.
Yeah,
I will.
you should.
Yeah, definitely.
So while these books are a bit different, I was intrigued by both of their attempts to highlight causes of human nature in the natural environment. I'm not going to ask you about the science and everything like in Rachel Carson's book, but I would like to talk a little bit about the sit spot theory in John Young's book, What the Robin Knows.
Yeah.
Last time we recorded, you kind of mentioned a little bit about it, but I thought your theory behind it, or I should say his theory behind it, and kind of how he talks about sitting still and picking a spot to sit every time you go to the woods and becoming one with everything. So I was hoping you could just elaborate more on that and tell our listeners what the sit spot is.
I think the biggest way that, and especially it ties into just kind of through hiking or hiking in general or just nature involvement, is just not interrupting. That's the whole point of the whole thing, is like, be a part of nature. Do not disturb it. Do not interrupt it. Don't leave your trash. Leave no trace. Right.
Yep.
That's like the motto of being outdoors.
Yep.
Or
So
just anywhere in life.
I mean,
in your
true.
city,
Honestly,
clean your shit up.
Yeah.
Don't be throwing it out on our streets.
it absolutely is that. It's part of being a society of like, you don't have to
Heathens.
disrupt. You can actually just navigate society even without having to disrupt it.
Yeah.
You know, you can just get through your day without having to screw up somebody else's day.
Yeah.
Like that's literally what walking through the woods is for me.
Yeah.
It is like, let me get through this and enjoy it and learn these other, if you want to call these other animals cultures. I would personally probably perceive it that way, of like, let me respect these, enjoy them, not interrupt them. That's how I see it.
Yeah, because when I was listening to the book and what we talked about a while ago now is more of the theory behind it, in that how the birds, they're kind of the protectors of all the woods. When a blue jay flies down, John Young writes about a blue jay kind of darting out of the sky. That means there's a raptor up there.
Yeah.
And that every other smaller animal will flee out of that area because they saw a blue jay dive. Or when there's a certain call from a chickadee, the warblers in the area also know what that call is. So they all communicate. And John Young really goes really big into that, the theory of, if all of those species of animals are exerting all of that energy to get away from that, as opposed to just sitting in the tree or doing what they would naturally be doing, that's a lot, like a lot to a species of an animal that lives, their sole purpose is to breed and maintain energy. So that's where I was hoping you would talk more about it in terms of just the theory of it and what we can do as birders or backpackers or hikers in terms of minimizing our, like, how does that work, that energy?
So I think the biggest thing that you highlight there, and I don't know if you meant to or not, but like the biggest thing that stands out to me is that entire foundation that you just described, which is considered in this book, and if you do read it, they will use these terms of like baseline.
Yep.
Like baseline means everyone's comfortable. We're all on this level of trust. And that's the word that stands out to me.
Yeah.
All of these animals trust each other. That is, and I will say, like, deer trust birds. Probably to some other degree, birds trust other birds, and like, that all stacks up on top.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing that I could try and emphasize is that there's non-conditional trust involved in all of that.
Yep.
And it's all I guess it's all beneficial to each other to do that as well, because it's survival.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that bird trusts the other bird because that is the way that trust works.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Everyone's looking out for each other.
Yeah.
It is community. It is like at its absolute core, its best. It is community.
Yeah.
That is so like, if I'm to understand your question, it's like that's the biggest thing that stands out to me is like those robins trust the blue jay because they're in the same community. They're looking out for their young. They're looking out for their survival.
Like neighborhood watch.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
It's entirely that.
And
It was really cool.
Humans have a ton to learn from that. And it's like, instead of just being on guard and saying like, well, I'm not going to trust you because whatever reason, it's like, if we started with like, I'm going to trust you because we're in this together.
Yeah. Life.
I think if you if your mindset going out there into the woods, on the trail, whatever, is to just be a human walking on a trail, and that's it. It's not a human yelling. It's not a human
playing a boom, like with a little
throwing
mini
stuff.
boom box.
Right.
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
And that, like,
Don't even get me started.
I won't, because I'm with you.
a silent human walking, along a trail is probably not a very disturbing thing for most wildlife.
Right.
And I think that's useful for me. Like I said earlier, the reason I want to learn this kind of stuff because the old guys knew it, and the old guys would know that call, because that bird's not worried about me, but that's an alarm signal for something else.
Yeah.
And you can learn that language over time after repetition and exposure and all that. So it's another language to learn out there. You can learn a lot about your surroundings just by listening.
That's for real. And Young talks about that in general. I think that's why I'm so intrigued by the sit spot. And his theory of the sit spot is that when you're there repeatedly over time, like, I'm not talking about walking. Walking, I don't even think John Young would want you just tramping through the woods, even if it was on trail.
No,
I
he
think,
describes that as a plow.
Yeah, exactly. Because you are, in fact, messing with everything around you.
Right.
There isn't a single animal that, as you're walking, tiptoeing through the woods, that's going to come up to you like, ain't a problem. They're all scurrying.
Right. I think to some degree, any animal running through the woods is disturbing.
Well, that's true, But
animals.
his theory is you sit. You don't move. You sit there, you find your tree that you sit at the base of, or you take a chair, a fold-out chair, whatever. You sit there forever, for as long as you're out there. You don't go finding those birds. You sit there and find anything that comes along your way.
Right.
Because over time and having that repetition of doing that, you're becoming part of that community. And those birds and the species around you will identify you as a non-threat in terms not allowing or not having them expand energy to get away from you, to send out calls, all that stuff. And I just thought that was really, I mean, we've said it a couple times now with the backpack and things like that. Yeah, it applies there. But in terms of this episode and the birding, I just think that that's a really good kind of theory of birding.
What I want to throw out there, and I'll take a pause before saying this, and feel free to delete this one entirely. But living in Chicago for quite a long time, The disruptor in Chicago neighborhoods is the police.
Yeah.
And again, feel free to delete this part as much
I
as
don't
you
give a
want.
shit.
But it's like,
Well, I understand the comparison for sure.
like, yeah, like the police is like the not welcome. Like it's not part of baseline in that city.
puts
In
everyone
my
on
neighborhood,
alert.
it puts everyone on alert.
going on?
Everyone's like tense.
That's
Everyone's
right.
reactive. No one's comfortable. And when
Yeah.
the police are coming through, and then when the police leave, it's like back to like, okay,
And what do you do in that? Yeah,
to it,
you
yeah.
you sigh, and then it's now I have to find that energy back.
Yeah.
That's entirely correct. That's
like,
a great analogy.
So you walking through the woods, like all tense and everything, is kind of that same disruptor.
yeah,
So like you can either be cool and be part of it, or not be cool and
Yeah.
disrupt it.
yeah, and I think
I totally understand the sitting down portion
Yeah.
because instead of, I guess, activating anyone's just precautions, you just sit there and they'll, instead of going away, they'll come to
Yeah.
voluntarily.
So like back to the analogy of like the police in the neighborhood, like if the cops instead of just driving through with their lights on, just
just
like actually sat on the corner and was
Chilling
like,
on the
hey, what's up?
sidewalk. Yeah.
Like, let me get to know you.
Yeah.
Let me, I don't know, build some trust. Like I'm a human, you're a human.
like neighborhood watch,
Yeah.
something like that, where you know that somebody's there to protect you,
Yeah.
or they're at least not a danger.
Yeah.
I know that's not the topic of discussion.
No,
I know.
I
To
do
go,
think
that's why I
police
said
need to do a little more.
I just thought that was
engagement.
As
Yeah.
soon as you told us to read that book, I tried finding it and ended up getting on an audiobook, and I just thought it was awesome. I will say that the Rachel Carson's book is quite a bit different, and it's a lot of science. Brad, you'd love it.
Nice. I'll
But
check it out.
I'm gonna dig
it's
into it
different.
right
Yeah,
away.
It's really cool.
I'm leaving this one with you though. So
Thank
you can
you.
read it and then I'll pick it up when you're done.
Yeah, I'd like to read it slow.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I haven't read that book yet, but I've learned that just from being out.
Oh yeah,
Like if I'm watching a heron waiting for it to grab a fish, but then I notice everything I heard as I walked into the area that went quiet is all coming back.
yeah.
And now I have like established sit spots everywhere I go. I know where I'm going to stop and stay for however long.
Good, dude. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Because you're right. Like it doesn't take long.
Yeah.
Within like 10 minutes,
Oh, yeah.
you'll start seeing everything
Yeah.
that just flew away kind of come right back to
Yeah.
where it was.
And you will hear like you're going, like you feel like you're walking into a wall of sound, and then it all disappears, but then it all comes back
Yep,
as soon
that's
as
right.
you kind of hang out for a while.
Oh, it's just Brad.
The,
Yeah.
Do whatever the fuck we want.
You're just going to
Brad.
make a lot of clicking noises.
the spring is fun because you've got birds that are passing through and it's like not their territory that they're protecting,
Yeah.
but they're just kind of resting. So when you're walking through, they're like, oh, hey, what's up? What are
Yeah,
you doing? And they
yeah.
come out to a tree line and then you're like, oh, I just got 20 species. But
Yeah.
like, because they're curious of what you are.
Yeah.
But different times of the year, it's especially nesting season. If a bird's getting off the nest to come see if they're safe or not, like you're causing disturbance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not that you probably need to like overthink that, but at least just being aware of your impact of your of your surroundings
Yeah.
is a pretty good way to be a human.
I think
feel
be
like
a reasonable person.
Yeah,
is
agreed.
always what you need to be.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree. Does anybody else have any more questions? I've kind of taken over this episode. I didn't mean to.
No.
I just had a lot of inquisitive.
Hey.
I can't
thoughts.
wait to read that book.
Oh, you're
honestly.
gonna love it.
Yeah.
You're gonna love it.
Yeah.
I can't believe you have you heard of it?
No, but I don't read a ton of books either.
Oh, this
I've read like 4
man.
books, and this is one of them.
It's so good. It's so good.
Did you read Hatchet?
No,
Oh.
I read that when Ashley was pregnant in the hospital. Somebody told me to read it. It's a kindergarten book or something.
Like
but it's good.
It was like a
Is it good?
required,
Yeah.
like,
Hatchet?
yeah.
Hatchet. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
Vaguely remember
I was mandatory reading for me in like middle school or something. So I know you've read it. I would assume.
Even in Manchester, it was.
Or you got
I
the
just
Cliff
didn't know.
Notes.
Hatchet. We had to read that.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
telling me
that's
that?
what Sean and Dave and all those dudes say.
Yeah, they probably actually read those books.
That's what I'm saying.
Nerds.
I pink monkeyed it.
Or I guess I was one of those nerds.
You're
was
okay, B-Rad.
Yeah, you're good.
It doesn't
You're
surprise
good.
us.
Totally.
I'm just jealous. I wish I had read those
Yeah,
books.
me too. I read it when I was 30. Anybody else?
Nope.
I got
Chad,
All right.
thank you for chatting with us once again. That will not be the last time we have you back onto an
Hell
episode.
no.
There's always so much more to cover. And as I was looking through these questions, I just kept thinking, man, this is so cool.
Yeah, and I didn't even get to ask my question.
Well, I didn't know, Travy. I just kind of took over.
I just want to know
mine
what
was
the question
kinda-
is, though.
It wasn't really, it's kind of more of a game. I have a list of 36 bird sounds that can be spelled in English, and I wanted to see if you could name how many you could name.
All right, dude, we'll
so
do that
glad we
for
did
the
not get
entire
to that.
next episode. Chad, all right. So now we're going to start with 36 bird sounds, and you're going to identify them.
I will
No.
fail that. I guarantee it.
We'll do that on the next episode to
Alrighty.
open it up, dude.
I look forward to
That's
that.
going to be fun as shit. Now I want to practice, too.
Dang.
Okay, thanks for listening, everybody. Keep
Yeah.
on sauntering.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Chad.
All right. Thank you.
See ya.
Chad, 36 bird sounds.
Starting with number 1.